And so then through your five senses, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing is the furthest out point of then what becomes sensible. But then we look through our senses to see what's sensible, losing sight of the fact that we've made sense of it through our senses. You're the one making sense of it through your five senses. Before that, it was utterly nonsensical. It was beyond your senses. And this is the essence of being a creator. This is the essence of being a visionary, right? And this is, in some way, in your own way, the reason why you're here, right? You're creating something, you're building something, you're being something, you're becoming something. What does that mean? Underneath that, what does that mean? It means you have a vision for something that you want to be, create, express, right? No one else sees that, right? You see that somehow, you feel it somehow, your senses don't perceive it. So when you fully believe it, when you fully enroll yourself in that vision, eventually it becomes something that your five senses can see. How magic is that? But like, how often are we looking through our five senses to see what's possible? When we know that's not the way that it works. We know that we create what's possible through what we believe we're capable of, right? What we believe we can create, what we believe in, what we embody. Just want to mention that if you are interested in a 12-week mastermind, which is starting at the end of this month with me and 12 other creators, the early bird is just ending. There are a few spots left. So if you're interested, comment Vortex down below and I'll send you more information. The thing is, nobody needs to get it, right? Nobody else needs to get your vision. And the thing is, nobody else will get it until you yourself are fully enrolled in it. When you are fully behind your vision, doesn't mean that there's not going to be doubts. Doesn't mean there's not going to be insecurity. Doesn't mean there's not going to be fear, right? That sense of imposter that comes up, that's a part of the deal, right? We're all self-conscious. You just got to be the first to admit it. But doesn't mean that you can't be fully invested in your vision. What if you don't have a vision, but feel there's more or something different? Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to touch on this a little bit later, but that in a way is a vision, right? So even if you don't have something specific, something like, particular in mind, the fact that you know there's something more, in the mastermind, I talk about these two approaches to like awakening your vision. And they're kind of two opposite ends of the spectrum. So one is like more goal oriented. So you're kind of like aware, you're like feeling into something that you want to create, something you want to become, something you want to attract or manifest. There's something kind of specific on the horizon that you want to create. And then you can reverse engineer that, right? So like if that is the reality, if that is the version of me that I want to experience and align myself with, then who do I have to be to create that, right? What do I have to do? What do I have to think, feel? What actions do I have to take, right? What conditions do I have to set up in my environment? What is the shift in frequency and consciousness that I have to make again and again and again to align with that reality where that is manifest? Right? That's one approach. The other approach, which is maybe more what you're asking about, or what's maybe aligned for you, is like working from the other way around, working inside out. So like you said, you have like a feeling of like, I know that there's more. I know there's more possible, right? But you don't even necessarily know what it is. So then start from the frequency and work and kind of reverse engineer out from there. So like if you can feel into a version of you, which feels like is embodying that more, right? And if you just sit with it for a little while, you'll intuit, right? You'll intuit like, okay, how would I be expressing myself? Like, what would I be doing, right? How would I feel? Like what would be my kind of daily routine? Like if anything's possible, what's the best case scenario? That's what I'm going to get into later as well. What's the best case scenario? In the best case scenario, what is that version of you doing? So even if you don't know exactly what it is or like what you're creating or whatever the end result is, You can start from like the end destination of that frequency of how you feel, of who you're being, and then reverse engineer it from there. Like, what would that version of you be doing? And then the thing is, like, because you know that there's more possible, if you embody that version of you, if you align with that version of you, if you mirror that version of you, then whatever that version of you is most inspired, most excited to do, that will become apparent, right? It will just become obvious to you. So that's the thing. Like this also in a lot of the people that I've worked with, we tend to get hung up on like, well, if I don't know exactly what it is, like this is where we can get stuck. But the thing is, when you're in alignment with that version of you, whichever approach you take, everything just becomes clear, right? And so then that clarity is available to you in alignment with with when you mirror that version of you. So then just like what are the qualities? What are the feelings, right? What are the thoughts? And then just to give yourself permission to just embody that more and more and more, and then the more you embody that, the more you will start to notice what's coming up in resistance to that. This is that old frequency that starts to come up that argues against what you're worthy of, like what's possible, all this, what people are going to think. You know, the job of the old frequency is basically to make you feel like a fool, right? It's to make you feel like an idiot, like a loser. Like that's its job. It does that out of safety. It's serving a purpose. It's trying to survive. And because it can't survive without you, that like old self, right? That your old self can't survive without you. I'm talking about the real you, like your attention, your awareness, your consciousness, right? The formless, timeless, boundless, infinite you. That old self cannot survive without you. So that old self will want to continue existing with its patterns, with its thoughts, with its feelings, right? So then when you try to change those thoughts, those feelings, those behaviors, those actions, it will try to make you feel like a fool. Like, yeah, but you're crazy. Like, yeah, but what are they gonna think? Like, what if it fails? You know? Like, so it's just doing its job. It's just trying to keep you safe. The thing is, it doesn't really know what it's talking about. So you can just trust yourself. Anyway, that's a bit of a side tangent, but yeah, we'll get into more of that later, but I hope that's helpful. Cool. So, coming back to like the creator, the visionary, that's really the essence of who you are, right? Whatever it is that you're doing. And it doesn't need to be something grand, like something that you're a business or an art, form or a project or whatever it is that you're creating, as we talked about in the first call, right? Like your life is your creation. Your life is your art, right? It's your masterpiece. You are a masterpiece in the making.